Hi, my name is Sharon Thornell. I'm 79 years old. I'm an amateur artist. I'm retired on Social Security. I have talked to at least 9 scammers. I was married for 49 years. I was working in town and he was working out in the oil fields, and he acted like he was just too busy to talk to me. It lacked a lot of the love, the touching, the caring. And then he got Parkinson's, and I was his caregiver. He was totally bedridden when he died. I had to do everything for him. He hated it. I hated it. But that, I think, is why I went looking for somebody that could show a little more compassion, a little more love.
Okay, so without delving into the entire history of her now late husband, and of course you can go into the description box and you can see this video uncut from Social Catfish. She was already ripe as far as being a scam victim. She's lost a spouse. No matter how you may feel about them, they were still your spouse. Okay, she expresses that during the marriage she didn't have a lot of romantic connection or feeling loved. So it seems to me that she felt like she was having to take care of him out of obligation, not, in all honestly, so much out of love. So when he passed away, she was looking for someone to give her what she did not get in her marriage, what she believes she did not get in her marriage, which was this feeling of love. So that makes Sharon, the 79-year-old woman, a perfect candidate to be scammed.
2019, Sharon's husband passed away. She was left lonely and decided to move in with her son. This is when everything started. She opened up an account on the dating site Match.com. Through the app, she matched with the first man.
His name was Roberto, and he had a business, supposedly. We talked while I was staying with my son. The guy was supposed to be 70 years old, so that's fine. He sold his business to a place, somebody over in Dubai. Well, of course, he got to Dubai. They had taxed him. He didn't know he was going to get taxed for this. And he wanted $36,000. Well, that's completely out of my range.
Notice a lot of these scams, and the love scams and whatnot is now going to become a permanent part of this channel. So these videos will be relatively regular, along with the TikToks, of course, and the Dave Ramsey. Notice a lot of these scams take place overseas. And why do they take place overseas? It's logical. It gives the scammer an excuse as to why they can't see you. And it's always in some place way far away, overseas, where, in and out transportation, communication might have, a bit of bumps and bruises. It's never someplace simple like I'm in Canada. No, it has to be I'm somewhere in Saudi Arabia, I'm somewhere in Dubai, whatnot. Places, if you think about it, that, at least from the United States standpoint, okay, a lot of U.S. citizens aren't familiar with how things work. We're familiar pretty much with the communication system of Canada, but how many of us are really familiar with how communication works in Dubai? I'm not. Sure, I know they have cell phones and all that, I got that, but I don't really understand their method of communication. I hope this makes sense. These scammers pick countries that we, as U.S. citizens, and taking the case here of Sharon, the 79-year-old woman in this video, scammers pick countries that U.S. citizens in general are not highly familiar with. We're not familiar with the routines, the operations. Why? Because it makes us more gullible. The more gaps a scammer can leave you wondering how it operates, the better chance they have of being able to rip you off financially. So we're not going to pick Canada because, heck, I've been to Canada. Probably some of you have been to Canada. Okay, we kind of know how things work. They're just on the other side of the border. Most of us don't understand the laws, customs, communication styles of countries like Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, where a lot of these scams occur. They pick unfamiliar territory.
And I called him a scammer, and he got mad, and he called me a bunch of names, and I haven't heard from him since. The next one was Michael, I think. He was working in Australia. Young, good looking.
And he's on the hunt for a 79-year-old woman.
Funny. And we were just friends to start out. And then he started getting romantic.
It's really sad when you see someone living a life of, I don't even like to say delusion, but it's almost like this is its own mental illness. Maybe that's why it interests me. Love scams, okay? If you think about it, there has to be some level of mental illness in the person to be able to fall for this sort of stuff. So oftentimes, I think a lot of the scamming that goes on is what the scammers are looking for is, without the scammer even knowing it, they're looking for a mentally ill person. There's a gnat flying around. I apologize. Okay? They're looking for a mentally ill person. We, on this end of the telephone, see it as, oh, they're just looking for a stupid person. They're just looking for someone who's gullible. I genuinely believe that it's actually deeper than that. I think they're looking for someone who's mentally ill. Because otherwise, how can you get so many people to give up their money? And you will be amazed as we do these videos over the weeks, because I've watched love scam news stories and stuff for years, okay? But as we watch these, at first we think they're just dumb, they're crazy. We even may think that they are greedy. But really, as I've watched so many of these, I've come to believe, what? There has to be just a dewdrop of mental illness, undiagnosed, somewhere in that person. And it's not based on how they look, the job they did, or anything else. To me, there is a certain reserve that we have to have for undiagnosed mental illness. Remember, in her head, these people are all real. But in reality, we have to remember as the viewers, these people aren't real. Because I'm willing to bet, family, some of you can even get pulled into, oh, okay, that's the guy she's talking to. And then you go, wait a minute. No, this is about a scam. All these photos are scams. They're of real people. But these are scams. So don't get yourself drawn into it too. Because I can watch these and go, oh yeah, that's who she's talking to. And I'm like, wait, no, that's not who she's talking to.
But I lied about that too. I have done it since. God. He spent the money he was supposed to pay his workers on supplies. And the supplies haven't come, and his workers want their money, and the government's after him, and they shut him down.
Oh, that's rich. It's in every scam. The government is chasing me, and they need a 79-year-old retired woman to pull out her wallet, possibly give up her life savings to save this dude. Yes, you need a retired widow on her pension. I've not watched this in detail. I try to watch as little of it as possible so we can watch it together. I watched just enough to go, I think the storyline's pretty interesting.
And then he's telling me he can't pay for his motel room. He doesn't have any food to eat. He's having to beg over at the restaurant next door. I'm a softie, and if somebody's in that kind of shape, I'm going to help him. I think I sent him $2,600.
$2,600. I don't have $2,600 to give anybody. And you'll be surprised, folks, as we go through this, the incredible length, the extent people will go through to give the scammers what they're looking for. But this will be, over the coming weeks as this new section takes on with this channel.
He just got worse. And when I'd sent him that money, I thought, you were really stupid. So I ended that one.
Isn't that a sign of mental illness? Oh my God. I just did this. I know I shouldn't have done it, but I just did this. Do that to anything with an addictive sort of behavior. Can this be kind of addictive?
Sharon blocked and cut ties with Roberto and Michael, but she didn't give up on finding true love online. She deactivated her account on Match.com and decided to try her luck with the dating app Our Time. That's when she was contacted by 2 more men.
Then I met this other guy. He was supposedly in Turkey.
Again, what did I say? A country that Americans are typically not familiar with. They're not going to pick countries where you have a chance of going, you know what, I've been there. I know that's not the way things work over there. They're picking countries that are, off the beaten track. Not the fact that we don't know these countries exist. Clearly we do, but I don't know a whole lot of people that have been to Turkey.
To collect his dead wife's inheritance. The will said that any woman that would marry him and raise the grandchild, they would give him $400 million.
Jeez! Oh, she's 79 years old. $400 million. Isn't that just shy of $500 million? My math skills aren't great. But I do believe that's just a house or two shy of $500 million. Any woman who marries me, because on my deceased wife's grave, if you marry me, I will give you close to $500 million. And let me guess. She said, okay. Like I said, guys, I don't watch the whole thing through. Ugh.
I did send him $1,200.
And she goes, I will send it right now. This is like, she's like a love scam addict, if there's such a thing. She's like really addicted. And remember, family, she's not actually talking to these people, but in her head, all these people become real.
And then they contacted me back and they said, well, that's just the beginning. We need $5,000 to finish this. Well,
And how many of them have you seen? You'll see a lot of the times they'll say, babe. I don't know what the deal is with babe, but they will use that. Oh, babe, I just need another 10,000, babe. So you're going to see a pattern to a lot of these love scams.
that was the end of that.
But it was only the end of that after she gave up the money.
Then there was one. What the heck was his name now? Thompson. He wanted to help me. So he made 2 payments on my car. So I thought, well, maybe he really does want to help me. Then he wanted to straighten up my bank account. Oh, how stupid I was. So I let him in my bank account. I let him in my Verizon account. He took the last $300 I had in my bank account, bought 5 iPhones with it, and I'm still being done for those.
And has she learned anything from this? Has she learned anything from Michael and all the other past people? Too many guys to remember here. Okay, too many fake scammers to remember. Has she learned anything from them? No. This is why I am convinced that this behavior, being a victim, can be an addictive behavior. She's aware, I think, to some extent, that she's being scammed, but she just can't help herself. It's kind of like going to the casino, and I'm aware the house is gonna win every time at the blackjack table, but I just can't help myself sitting down and losing money. I'm aware I'm gonna go bankrupt, or at least not bankrupt, but overdrawn when I shop too much, but I just can't keep myself from going to the mall. That was my problem. So just transfer it to her. I'm aware I'm being scammed. I know I shouldn't give up another 1,000, 5,000, whatever, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like the attention. It's easy for us to look at it and simply say being scammed is always about greed. But I have to be honest. I think in the case of love scams, I actually don't think it's financial greed. I think that actually takes a back burner. What it is, it's the hungry desire to be emotionally connected to somebody. I think with love scams, it's less about the money. And also the fact that they're willing to give up so much money to get it, to try to get that nurturing, loving feeling that they want so much. So even though in this case there was, they had said earlier about, well, if you'll marry me, I'll basically give you $400 million. Okay, but that, in my opinion, is not the primary reason she was doing it. And even so, that was a touch of greed, maybe a big drop of greed. But really, she's looking for that love connection, and she's willing to pay for it.
I gave him everything. My account, my routing number, my account number, my Verizon account number.
See, there's that word baby. Baby.
The thing is that the 2 payments he paid on my car, as soon as he bought those phones, it was pulled back out, and I was overdue on my car and overdrawn on my bank account.
Put in the comments if you think this is a case of mental illness. Is she mentally ill? I am so paranoid. Let's see, when I got my condo, I was so paranoid about wire fraud that I actually told my realtor, I will take the day, I will take a 2, 3 days, 4 days, whatever off of work, and I will fly out to the address that you send me to hand them the check. Okay, when I signed off on my condo, because it was, a small amount of money that my late mother gave me, but it was going to be a life-changing amount as far as getting me out of being a renter into a little condo, 840 square feet here, okay, being able to clear up any last bills, and I knew it would be a life changer, and it was. It's also what allowed me to partly start the YouTube channel, okay, but I knew it would be a game changer, and I could not afford to lose it, and I was willing. I mean, like, what's a couple of days off work and, $700-800 air ticket anywhere in the USA, and 2 nights for a hotel, over losing what could be 6 figures. Okay, so in that case, I was that paranoid. She's just giving out her account like it's nothing. So you do have to ask yourself, is she mentally ill?
And I owed $5,000 in telephones. I did tell him that he was a scammer and that I was going to get the cops on him. And he said, well, I'm sending 2 big black Nigerians to take care of you. He didn't scare me. He's not going to send people there to murder me over $5,000. I don't think so.
So just like any addict, she's aware of her actions. She's aware of the repercussions. And notice also something a lot of scammers will do is, and we guys, this doesn't just go with telephone scamming. We see it in Wall Street. What is it? It's not the predatory loans, but it's the Ponzi schemes. They do something that makes them look trustworthy in your eyes. They say, hey, you know what? Send us some money and we're going to give you a 15% return regardless of the market. And you see the return, you go, oh my goodness, they really are giving me. They gave me returns of that for, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. They build trust by giving you something. And then they take it all away. So how did they build her trust? We're going to make 2 car payments for you. See? We're trustworthy. Just like a Ponzi scheme, Wall Street money. Hey, we're going to give you returns of 15-20%. Never mind that the market's in the tank. But we're going to make you believe us that we're really good. She's repeating the same actions over and over, just like an addict.
When Sharon's son found out she was sending money to men online, it sparked an argument between the two.
And then we got in a big fight over me talking to men on the internet. So I rented a car. My sister was out here in Oregon. My niece is here in Oregon.
That's my home state.
My niece said I could come over here and stay as long as I wanted.
Before she knew it, she had more men messaging her through her Facebook account.
Okay, his name was Stone Brittany. He was another young one with a young daughter. Oh, the first thing he did, he sent me $2,500 and wanted me to buy Bitcoins with it. So I did, but I did it in a CoinMe machine. He was sending me money in the post office, cash. I think altogether probably $50,000.
Sounds like some laundering of money might have been going on.
But I'm so stupid, I was putting it in my bank account through the ATM machine.
Which, of course, I think if you go above like a $10,000 deposit or something like that, it sparks, the bank has to report it to the feds or the IRS at least.
Then the bank started asking questions. They said, when you put that much cash in there, we have to know where it's going and what's going on. Well, where it was going was to his different Bitcoin wallets. Well, my daughter-in-law went through everything with them. I gave her all the paperwork I had. I gave her the envelopes I had that the money came in. She made copies of everything and she gave it to the FBI. They said that since I cooperated with them, they weren't going to do anything to me. Now, I could have gone to prison.
Nothing's raising flags in this woman's brain. Nothing is raising flags.
That was the end of that. I didn't talk to him anymore. They called the FBI on me. They tried to take away my independence. They wanted me to sign papers so that they could have access to my money and everything I had. And I wouldn't do it.
Once the FBI was involved, it forced Sharon to block Stone Brittany. But guess what, Seekers? She started chatting with 3 more men through TikTok. She believes one of these men have to be the real deal.
Remember, she's looking for love. She's looking for love in all the wrong places.
And I met this other guy on TikTok. But I went ahead and talked to him. He has most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. I'm interested in you. I think you're a beautiful woman. Age is just a number. If you're that young and I'm this old, in 10 years, I'm going to be a really old lady. And you're still going to be a young man. Well, he kept insisting, that doesn't make any difference. I really like you. And then he told me, well, in order to talk to you, you have to pay my management $1,800 and some dollars. Well, that's starting to sound a little funny, but...
Starting to sound funny? Oh. It's starting to sound funny. Okay, all right.
And he told me he paid, they really wanted 3,000 something, but he paid 2,000 of it. So all I needed to pay was 18 something.
What word are we familiar with in here? Take a look at that screen. What do we see? Babe, babe, baby. Don't worry, babe. I paid 2,000. You'll only need to pay 1,000. See, it sounds like a discount. Like you go to the store and it sounds like a discount, even though they might have just marked it up. And
so I'm not rich. I sent $550, and I told him they would have to wait for the rest. And we talked for a solid month, waiting for this other money to come in. He's just a slick talker. And you're looking at this picture of a really nice-looking young man.
Who's really interested in this 79-year-old woman. Don't get me wrong. You can definitely date at 79, get married at 79, 80. Okay, but we have to be realistic, folks, about the age group that's going to be interested in us and for what reasons.
And the other one I'm talking to, he will be back in Portland on Monday. If he shows up here as a real person, I might have something to do with him, but he's going to have to show up in person.
How many men has she gone through? Okay. She's never met any of them. How many has she gone through before she's able to convince herself that she really needs to see them in person? I really think that in some ways that this could possibly, and I am no psychologist, I'm certainly no medical doctor, I'm almost wondering if she has a case perhaps of post-traumatic, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. From, this is just a thought. I don't even know if this is true, okay? Just let you know what's going on in my brain. I don't believe she was in love with her husband, the one that passed away. And she felt that she was having to take care of him out of duty. If there isn't perhaps some PTSD issues going on, I wouldn't even know really where to start with it, but her behavior is so, the word's not unbecoming, but she's so desperate. It makes me think that perhaps she is suffering from PTSD. I don't know if it's possible. Okay, I know it is with military and trauma and stuff like that. I get that. But is it, maybe if anybody medically knows, is it possible that you could be with someone and you feel a sense of PTSD. Because we don't know, at least from what she's saying, it doesn't sound like they had a great marriage. And to some extent, she resented, I believe, having to take care of him. So this is sort of the trauma of that, and we're seeing it play. You have to remember something, folks. I think when it comes to scamming and stuff, word spreads fast as to where the victims are located. Oh, yeah, have you ever made let's do this. If you ever made like a donation to something, let's just take politics, okay? Have you ever made a donation to Save the Whales, and before you know it, every single Save the Whale company or nonprofit knows who you are and starts spamming you, and you're like, wait a minute, I just made $125 donation to Save the Whales. It's kind of like that. Word spreads fast as to where the money is at. And it's very clear that her name has spread very fast.
Portland's not that far from where I am.
I lived in Portland, so I'm very familiar with the area. This is Portland, Oregon.
If he shows up here in person, I'll believe him. And that's what I've told him. And the other one I'm talking to, his name is Van Millie. He's 55 years old. He wants to start a hospital when he retires, which he says is going to be in 9 months when he finishes this contract.
These are all men in some probably Nigerian phone bank.
He jumped right in immediately to all this. I love you. I'm falling in love with you. Bull crap. And I keep telling him, if you want to talk to me, don't say those things. So he has knocked it back. He is the person in the photos on his TikTok. And I am still talking to him.
Well, I could show you, you can look at my TikTok, which is under my channel name, Consumer Debt Chit-Chat. You could say, hey, Carrie's the person in the photos on the TikTok. That proves nothing.
But nobody seems to understand my family. I don't want an older man. All men my age or older are old. I took care of my husband for 5 years. I do not want to do that again.
Sharon reached out to us.
Okay, I'm going to skip this part. This again, you can watch the full video down below. But this is basically where the social catfish crew comes in. They do their investigation and they reveal what they found. And then we're going to jump in at basically kind of her response to it, because we all know that these are scammers.
You've been in communication with all of these different men, young, old, black, white, right? All of these guys are all fake.
I really thought he was real, but it doesn't matter. I shut off my TikTok. I don't even go on Facebook.
And this is the thing. It's, having my own history of mental illness when I was in my 20s. But that mine was because of shopping. It wasn't because of, this love scam stuff. But either way, I mean, looking at it from the love scam end, she's going to have to go through a withdrawal. It's not just the withdrawal of these imaginary people that she has created in her mind. We have to remember, to her, they exist, which again, I would point out, is a sign of mental illness. So she's not only got to go through that withdrawal that Mike and Mickey and Tommy and all these other people, I can't keep track of their names, don't exist, but then she has to reckon with the social consequences. And you notice, family, I am being polite and gentle on these, okay? This is for us to learn from. It's not for us to shame or bash, and I think that's really important, okay? At least on some of these love scams. I mean, I can't guarantee I'll always take a gentle, kind tone, but today we are, because I genuinely think that there's some PTSD, mental health issue going on. So she's got to deal with the fact that in her mind that they're not real. But the social backlash of it from her family. Like they said, she's lost family, friends because of it. Because to those of us who are sane, we look at it and we go, you really believe that he was stuck in Dubai and the government is after him? I mean, this is something out of a Hollywood movie, Tomb Raider or something. So she's got to look at it from that end as well, and the feeling of shame that comes with it. And even though I've never been caught in a love scam myself, having been a shopping addict, yeah, there's a lot of shame that comes with it. So she's got to deal with this from multiple angles.
Nope, I just gave up. I really didn't want to spend the rest of my life alone. But it's all right.
Right now, we're going to go into a love scam that I think is a love scam, but it may not be. I'll let you decide. And we ran this a couple days ago.